So, you have questions for me?
Yes. I had a question regarding just coming from the perspective of Department for the Health and Vital Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, we have our universal health care plan.
Non-surgical in nature, yes.
Non-surgical in nature, and we deal in holistic healing and dealing with herbs and tween-eye massage and just using various supplements such as colloidal silver
And the essential oils as well.
and the essential oils as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to basically heal folks, and of course acupuncture.
Like therapy, the whole host of things, reflexology, Reiki,
Exactly.
moxibustion, and on down the line. But please continue.
Yes, but lately there have been folks that have talents and skills in evasive surgery in terms of freak accidents, and they would need to have surgery, whether brain surgery or for traumas to the head or open heart, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Amexem-Moor-Empire will be having that added as a component in the healthcare plan and in the Department for the Health and Vital Therapy. Now I know in regards to certain foreign jurisdictions how they do things in terms of insurance.
Mm-hmm.
To cover any if I'm using that term correctly, malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
That any malpractice in terms of folks feeling secure against malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
In our jurisdiction, how we go about to provide insurance for our medical folks that have those talents and skills.
The question is, there's a lot of things I have to address in there. See if I can do that in short order. All right, first and foremost, there's certification process.
Yes.
For anyone that's going to be demonstrating, because we don't have private practice within our venue, we have private demonstration. Practice means you're still working to get a clue on how to do it and what needs to be done. We actually master material and then we demonstrate. So, in order to be certified to demonstrate in the medical field within the Amexem-Empire jurisdiction, there's a certification process. Now, the Minister for the Health and Vital Therapy, that's his domain. So, in terms of the certification process, I've seen elements of it, but I couldn't give you anything directly off the top of my head on how certain things go in the certification process for folks in their fields of expertise. So, that being said on the front end, it is true that we are evolving our non-surgical healthcare plan with a Part B, which would be for elective surgeries or invasive surgeries. For, as you would say, freak accidents. Folks do break bones. Folks, there are blunt traumas. There are things that may require more than just a Band-Aid. In other words, serious lacerations, punctures, impaling. Things do occur. Folks fall. There's car accidents, or as we say, land vessels or land travel devices that get into misfortunate incidents. These things do occur, and the bodies being as frail as they are, they will be impacted, and you can have all types of things that can occur, severing of limbs and things that have to be addressed. So yes. The question that you asked is exceedingly relevant and very, very important because we have addressed them to a degree at the imperial government level, specifically from interior and from the health and vital therapy perspective, because interior, as you know, has ESA. If someone gets hurt out in the field, as they say, the field medical technician that in the foreign venue will be known as a paramedic or an EMT, the lower level grade of a paramedic, will be dispatched out by ESA to acquire folks who have been in that type of situation. They stabilize them sufficient to get them to a health and dental maintenance agency, Bimaristan, or a treatment center. Once they're there, those who are certified in our venue to provide that type of assistance have to have what's called bond. There's those who are insured and there's those who use bonds. In this venue, we use bonds. Basically, they have to have X amount in the bond set aside to deal with misdemonstration, incorrect process or procedure, or negligence in the performance of providing a particular procedure, so that they can indemnify or basically provide restitution unto the party whom they may harm in a manner that's fair and equitable. Now, the real question is not so much about providing protection. There is going to be providing a protection, but it's also making sure that everything is fair and equitable.
Yeah.
So it's not just merely showing that a party is damaged, but it's also looking at a proper or appropriate adjudication. All right, what did they lose? Did they lose 30% of the use of a hand, or whatever the case may have been, or how much does that impact what they do for their trade? These things have to be weighted, put on a proper scale and measured. Look at it from a pecuniary position and proceed. A lot of things are compensatory. Some might be punitive. It all depends on one thing: intent. And when it comes down to misperformance of a procedure that some would call malpractice in particular jurisdictions, the hardest thing to prove is intent. So it's not about so much whether or not we can cover someone. No, that's taken as a given. That's why you have the imperial court system to make sure that everything is done fair and equitable. What my primary concern is making sure that things are in fact done in equitable fashion, because things can be out of sorts. They can be out of balance. But effectively, it is true. Yes, we are beginning to morph our healthcare plan. We don't have enough folks in our venue in enough locations to do particular things. But what I can tell you is, for the most part, most of the things that are provided will be actually covered by the imperial government itself. Some would call what we have a quote-unquote form of socialized medicine. That's because in certain jurisdictions, that term is socialized medicine is like curse words. It's like very poor syntax. They don't want to hear that terminology. Because anything that's quote-unquote socialized means it's got to come out of my pocket. It's how folks come across. I'm like, well, if it's a collective pool that is covering the costs, well then, if that same collective is covering the costs, it should all be universally covered for whatever may happen to them. That's the freak accident, to use your terminology. So it's really a matter of how folks proceed. From our perspective, if you're on the Amexem-Moor-Empire National, our folks bring forward X amount of funds periodically. They bring funds when they amalgamate into the venue. They bring silver periodically as constitutional donations, at least 2 ounces of silver, either monthly or bi-monthly, depending on where we are. So because they're bringing in these finances to cover the cost of our operations, the least that we could do is see after the care of all of our folks. And so we will make sure that the certification process is in order, that those who are doing things are bonded, and we will back them to make sure that everything is in power, pack, and order. So if they don't have a sufficient bond, we will cover the balance. Amexem-Moor-Empire National, when folks come into this venue, they commit to us and we commit to them. It's a huge thing for me. You cannot say that you're independent and sovereign if your health is not in order. You're only as sovereign as your ability to feed, clothe, and shelter yourself on your own terms. But you have to have health to do any of that. That's why we say health is wealth. Take care of that, or you can't even get out of your bed. If you can't get out of your bed, you're getting nothing accomplished. Nothing's going to get done. So we have to be clear. And I thank you for that question. I can't take a follow-up on that right now, but we will take some additional questions later on during the course of this particular Q&A.
All right.
But it's an excellent question, and I'm glad that you asked it. So with that, I say peace and love and Islam.
Islam.